Just listen to me. Remember those...
Wait.
Wait.
Just listen to me. Remember those bird calls I taught you? Use them now. Call as many birds as you can, quickly.
Icarus made sounds that imitated the calls of blackbirds, seagulls, and other birds. Hearing the calls, the birds swooped down toward the inventor and his son in the maze. The two quickly snatched as many feathers as they could. The lucky birds lost only a few feathers each.
Now, if we use the wax from the candles to hold the feathers like this...
Father, please tell me what you're making.
I'm making wings. With these feathers and wax, I'm making wings that won't carry us out of the maze and away from this island. Minos may control the land and the sea, but he doesn't rule the sky. We'll fly away.
In just a day, Daedalus made sets of wings for himself and his son. Then they practiced with the wings until they knew they could fly.
Before we go, pay attention to my words, Icarus. Fly right behind me. Do you hear? Do not fly low, or the spray from the sea will wet your wings and pull you down. Do not fly high either. If you fly too close to the sun, the wax that keeps the wings together will melt and you will fall into the sea.
Father, I promise I'll obey you.
The two set out at the break of day. They flapped above the walls of the labyrinth and out over Minos' kingdom. The people below didn't know what to think about what they saw in the early morning sky.
That's the strangest pair of birds I've ever seen.
No, it must be two gods visiting Earth.
I think I better go back to sleep.
Once they were away from Minos' island, Daedalus and his son whooped and shouted.
We're as free as birds.
Just remember what I told you. Be careful.
Feels great to fly. Gliding, soaring. Look at this dive I can do. Look how high I can go.
This is no time for fooling around, son. Stay close behind me. We've got to land as soon as we can.
When his father's back was turned, Icarus spread his wings and soared as high as he could. He felt the rays of the sun warming his body. He let the currents of air take him even higher, just as the tide will sometimes carry a swimmer deeper and deeper.
I'll catch up with my father in a second. After being in that cold labyrinth, it's great to be flying. The sun feels so good.
But something began to go terribly wrong. Icarus' wings began to get heavier and heavier. He started to feel melting wax warming his arms. When the boy turned to look to see what was happening, he saw a feather drop from his wings. Now he remembered what his father had said.
Oh no. Father, help me.
But the boy was far behind, and his voice could not reach his father's ears.
Before long, hundreds of feathers were falling from the wings, and Icarus was dropping fast to the blue sea below. He waved his arms frantically, but it did no good.
Flying ahead, Daedalus was lost in thought.
Now, if I could build wings for an entire army, now that would be something. We could fly back to Crete and surprise Minos. I could be king. Icarus, how long do you think it would take me to...
Turning around, he saw that he was alone in the beautiful cloudless sky. His heart pounded as he circled back. Then he saw what he feared the most. Icarus floating lifeless in the sea.
Daedalus landed on the first island he saw and convinced the fishermen there to bring back the body of his son. He buried Icarus on that island.
As he said goodbye to his son, he noticed a bird sitting on a branch of the tree overlooking the grave. It was a partridge, the kind of bird his nephew Talus had become when Daedalus pushed him off the temple of Athena so many years before. At last, Daedalus understood how wrong and cruel that plan had been, now that his own son's life had been taken from him.
For the rest of his life, it is said, Daedalus lived quietly on the island of Sicily, making toys for the children there. He easily could have won fame and fortune if he had built on his flying ideas, but the death of his son caused the inventor to hang up his wings and his desire for fame forever.